Hey, welcome to newsletter 41 of the Drawing Machines and Notes from Art Studio Robots. In this newsletter, videos, more brush stuff, waning power, rodeo, and essays with AI. This is the audio version of the newsletter, but hey, here on YouTube there's also the video version because I like using a camera and microphone setup and find it easy to edit. But really, it's supposed to be read as a newsletter or listened to as audio, and the links for all of that are down below. Back to me reading out the newsletter. An update on the sale of the old studio. It's still not happening. Oh God save me. I hate every single moment of it. It's great. Anyway, on to the penplotter brush height. This has blown up a little bit since the last newsletter when I went and posted some pictures over on Instagram and videos of the brush moving up and down. So I've decided to update my code over on GitHub a little more to put a few more examples. The link is in the newsletter. On the video, it's up there somewhere, if I've got that in the right direction. Probably haven't. And I made a whole long ass video about it that I'll also link to around here, which you can find in the newsletter link to, again, down below, and again, linked somewhere up there. I'm never quite sure what to do with the videos. I know there's a trend for making videos shorter and snappier, and I often find myself when I'm watching tutorial videos going, yeah, get to the point when I'm trying to learn something. And I suspect the video I made could have been, yep, you can set the brush height throughout doing a plot using Python and a little bit of code by changing these two values, and that probably would have been the video. But I also like watching videos where the person presents a solution and then shows all the problems they went through to get to that solution, and I feel as though I then understand the solution a little bit better, even if I would do things slightly differently. And also, I think pen plotter artists are slightly more tolerant of longer videos because they're used to their pen plotter taking a long time to do something, so they're happy just to sit down and watch something for 20 minutes while their machine is drawing. So I think it's all right. The plan now is to finally write a blog post about my handwriting code, how I do that, because that's the other thing people are interested in, make a video about that, and then combine the brush height video and the handwriting video, all that stuff together into handwriting with a robot, with a brush pen, ultimately. Although realistically it's still taking me a couple of weeks just to make one video, so we're going to set expectations when those come out really low. Meanwhile, here's a handy blog post about pricing art, and it's called The Dark Art of Pricing, and it's really good and you should probably read it. So that's my helpful link for the newsletter. I did it. I gave up Twitter and Threads and then all those other ones. I haven't deleted my account because I'm trying to keep my username safe, stop somebody else stealing it. I'm still using Instagram, but it's firmly on the following tab, just not the For You tab. It's just full of algorithmic nonsense. It's only been a couple of weeks and I'm already feeling much happier about it. The other outcome is that the engagement with my YouTube videos and my newsletter is slightly lower, and that's because Kitty would often post several times throughout the week going, here's the new newsletter, here's the latest YouTube video, and you would pick some people up from that. Obviously that's not happening anymore, so there's going to be people who are missing out on my content, and I use missing out lightly. Oh no, they're missing out. Anyway, so perhaps, yes, my reach is less now than before when I was on Twitter, but for me it's totally worth it. But that's because I'm in the fortunate position of not having to care that much about reach and engagement, because according to the graph that is in the newsletter from Paula, I am in my power decade. As an aside, in this graph she's mainly talking about designers, but it applies to other things as well, that when you're in your 20s, you're starting, you're a pro in your 30s, you're an aging pro in your 40s, and the power she's talking about in your 50s is as you've been working your way up, you have colleagues and they're in your network. So even if you're not in a position of power, the chances are there are some people you know who actually are, and then you can ask them for information or help or networking or things like that. So I know that's true for me. I'm lucky I have a really great network of people, many from before Twitter as well, so I feel very supported about that. So while I don't feel powerful, I'm also not that particularly worried. Anyway, getting back, I couldn't find an online version of this graph anywhere, so I snagged the screenshot from her talk, which is over here, and I'm going to link that everywhere in the newsletter, on the video, all of that stuff. So thank you, Tom, for helping me find that, because I couldn't remember where the graph came from. I thought it was from somebody else. Tom pointed me into the right direction. Thank you, Tom. However, Rodeo is I picked it up like a bad habit. It's a new image-based social media platform. It's all very Web3, and it's therefore incredibly niche and completely unusable for the vast number of people, because you have to connect your Web3 wallet thingy to it, and then you take some of those numbers, and then you have to convert some of those numbers into different made-up numbers that are somehow magically the same, and then it's all quite complicated. So this whole Web3 thing is just really hard for anybody to use, frankly. Anyway, the short of this is a really long time ago, there was a suggestion for having digital stamps on email, where the price of sending an email was really, really tiny. So it didn't affect you if you're just sending a normal amount of email. But the idea was that it would stem spam email because it was too costly to send thousands, if not millions of emails. So for normal people, it'd be fine. For spammers, it will be too much. So it was a bad idea. The intention wasn't bad, but it would be really hard to implement, and it just died. So with the Rodeo, once you've converted some of your real money into your fake Web3 internet numbers, this is how it goes down. And I'm going to use UK pounds for this. These prices are correct at time of recording, but recent days have shown that that can change radically in a very short space of time. So posting an image to Rodeo costs you 1 pence. Unlocking the ability to comment on somebody else's image costs you 20 pence. And then the poster of that image gets half of that, and the platform gets the other half. So hopefully that will fund them. No adverts, things like that. There are no likes, there's no hearts, there's no favorites. Spam is currently non-existent. You have to pay to comment. And my feed is only full of what my friends are doing. And again, there's no adverts. It's really great. I'm finding it a really chill and low stress and beautiful place to be. Like, I'm posting things now and again. I'm sure it'll be ruined at some point. People will figure out how to game the system because there's money involved. But for this very small moment in time, I'm really enjoying it. They call themselves a social media platform, and I'm kind of having fun just posting whatever I feel like, but mostly it's people posting their art, again, because I think there's this more money aspect to it. People are believing they have to be posting artwork, and they see other people posting artwork, so that's it. I would like to treat it just like a social media platform, like Twitter and Instagram was, where you're just posting what you're doing. It only costs me 1 pence to do that, and I don't get all the ragey comments. It's great. Of course, really, under the hood, there's some NFTs involved there, and you're not really paying to unlock the ability to comment. You're actually paying to own a copy of the artwork, and that unlocks the ability to comment. But I'm kind of seeing it from more the social point of view rather than the buying and selling art point of view. I made a spiral, and it's here, and I posted it into the newsletter because I thought it broke it up and it looked quite nice. There's the code for it as well down there. Next, an essay about generative art in print. For reasons, I'm writing, it's around 1,200 words now, a short essay about my thoughts of generative art and print, and I've made a very quick draft of it, and then of course, because that's what I do, ask Kitty, my AI PA, for opinions. I've posted the first draft on the website. The link is below and in the newsletter. Now, I'm not at all interested in getting AI to write my essays for me, but I can understand why people are. But what I do like seeing is how AI can be used to help me think through the process, take a step back, and then reflect on things. And that's what I find AI useful for. So in addition to Kitty's normal random personality, Kitty has several to choose from, and the one that helped me with this essay happens to be the sassy personality. Although the suggestions aren't particularly sassy, it just seems to make Kitty more assertive. And I've added on to their role of being a studio admin helper, telling Kitty that they are also now a super editor. And then I'm also throwing in a week's worth of the questions and answers I've given, because it's getting a lot cheaper just to plow more stuff in there. And then I drop that essay into the review folder for Kitty to pick up, and Kitty takes the personality, instructions, all those Q&A, which is interesting because it ties it to what I'm doing at the moment. It may not seem relevant, but now and again Kitty goes, "Oh, you spent the last week doing this. Can you relate to this point in the essay?" So it's kind of strange, it's useful. I don't think I'll take any of this advice, or I might take some of this advice. I have different opinions. I am pretty opinionated like that. But it was certainly an interesting experiment to go, here's my first draft. Can you annotate it and make some comments and then give me some feedback? And then I can use that to think about the essay differently. So that's what I've been doing. Right, the end. It's the end. Going back to the social media thing a little bit. Because I've never really enjoyed how Instagram presents work, that you get to look at one picture at a time, even if you do a carousel and you scroll between them, you're still only seeing one thing at a time. It's kind of the same on Twitter, and sometimes I just want to show a whole bunch of photos together, because 3 or 4 photos, they kind of have context within each other, and I haven't really been able to do that on social media. So I spent a fun afternoon elbow deep in CSS code and JavaScript to make it work on my own website, and I'm using it working very loosely there. I have more thoughts on this about the presentation of photos and artwork and where to do them, mainly on your own website. But I figured out that I'd have just done this. I'll drop it in here as a very quick update. Once again, I'm super grateful. It's something that I can build for myself to scratch the itch that I had. Building things nowadays just seems simpler because of all the tools that allow you to help, but also more complicated and overwhelming for people trying to do it, because there's so many frameworks and libraries that you go, I don't quite know where I'm going to start. Luckily for me, I like just building it from plain old HTML and CSS and JavaScript and not use any of that, and then just build it up myself. I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, I think. Right, tell me your favorite brushes, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. The next newsletter should be out on August the 20th. I'll see you next time. I love you all. Bye. Hey, we're back once again for the Renegade Master. D4 damage for the ill behavior is not what's written on this card. I'll get it right one day. Isn't D4 damage that like magic missile? That's D4 +1, isn't it? Right, let's do this again.